I eat corn on the cob, I don't eat popcorn. I love children, but I hate child porn. A bottle in the womb was where I was born. An alcoholic family left my mind torn. A tear in the fabric was a tear in my life. I'd never be a mother, but I'd barely be a wife. I shot an AK-47, but I carried a knife. I was incubated in a home with anger and strife. Addiction was nothing but my family's cancer. I looked for the truth, but I never found an answer. I went to the party, but I'd never be a dancer. And for people like me, there's often no second chancer. I got to know poverty, I'd never be wealthy. And for most part of my life, I was mentally unhealthy. Too many nights of fighting and too little sleep. Hiding the child I was by not making a peep. Never owning anything that I could ever keep. I wanted out, but I couldn't take the leap. They say, watch what you sow, because you'll sow what you reap. But I couldn't even climb out, because the path was too steep. Might as well float away in a river of tears that I'd weep. But the banks of the river were too far away, and the river too deep. My father was a thief, and it's our lives that he stole. He abandoned his family, so we'd never be whole. My mother's bitterness was only the darkness in her soul. Our complete destruction was his only role. So I wondered about life and what the hell was the goal, because the life I was living was taking a toll. So how do you go on living when it's your life that sucks, when you're the ugly duckling in a family of ducks, when the only luck you have is never-ending bad luck, when the attitude you pretend is you don't give a fuck? Eventually you got to bury the pain deep inside, wall off your heart where it will reside. Pretend it's okay when it's you that you hide, until one day you wake up and realize a part of you died. And in the life that you're living, it's you that has lied, while you held your breath hoping for a change in the tide. And along the way you picked up a brand new affliction. You joined your family by engaging in a mind-numbing addiction. A mother drowned her sorrows, making you her partner. She poured her pain into you in a drunken open heartener, until you couldn't tell the difference between you or her, until you could no longer see a different point of view, until all men were bastards, and that's all that you knew. And now you were a container for her bitterness too. Dragging someone else's baggage too far of a distance, lost in the trance of my own lack of resistance, lost in a life with absolutely no definition, living in someone else's sorry rendition, far too screwed up to ever make the competition, stuck on repeat and caught inside the repetition. You'd hope someone would notice and start a petition, because there was no way in hell I'd ever make the decision. I was deaf, dumb, and blind without any vision. I could do the math, but I couldn't do the math, much less a revision. It's a place you get lost somewhere between heaven and hell. And I was going down, so I only fell into the depths of my misery, blinded by fate, until the fate became the source of my hate, until somehow I figured that I just didn't rate. If I came looking for something, then I came far too late. Besides, the entrance was barred with too high of a gate. So if I wanted help, I'd just have to wait. And I was dying inside with time running out. I'd exhausted the limits of misunderstanding and doubt. I'd lost any belief in a life that was kinder. And if hope was out there, then I couldn't find her. Because addiction only blinds you, and I couldn't see. I couldn't even guess just who I should be. I was paying for the mistakes of my family tree. I didn't know the cost, but I'd still pay the fee. And the price was much higher than I could afford. So I bought a rope and I made a noose of the cord. Took the bottle of alcohol into the glass that I poured, tried to bury the person that I had ignored, woke up with the rope broken, my face to the floor, and realized there wasn't much I could take anymore. There had to be a way out. There had to be a door. There had to be a reason I was being punished for. And if I couldn't die, then I had to survive. I had to find a life where I felt alive. Because in that moment, I was suffering from a failure to thrive. But this was my life, and I was about to go live. And that's what I did. I screamed and cried it all out. I was determined to find out what this hell was about. I knew I'd die if I didn't, without a doubt. And that's what happens when you push it all down. The pain won't go away, just hanging around until the hell is the place where you finally found, where the extent of the pain can truly astound. I had to break the chains of addiction and just walk away, give up the life I was living and find a better way, change the tune I was singing and find something better to say, step out of the past and into today. So I fought myself into a better place until it was me that I came face to face, not the person I buried under the dope, not the person who used because they had never had hope, Not the child born into a family that never taught her to cope. Not the young person who tried to hang herself with a rope. I came face to face with the person I never knew. The child with a sense of wonder in her point of view. The child that could see clearly both me and you. The child in a hurry because there was so much to do. So much time wasted, so much left behind. Walking around with dark glasses until I was blind. Searching for something that I couldn't find. So full of anger I nearly went out of my mind. But I found my way out into a world full of more light. And the things that were wrong became the things that I'd fight. And the light of the day replaced the dark of the night. The cloudy film of anger finally left and cleared up my sight. I got rid of my wrongs and I finally found what was right. The gate finally came down to a manageable height. Life became a gift and no longer a blight. And I began living. I was no longer dying. I no longer believed that everyone was just lying. I wasn't just existing, I was actually trying. It was the wrong in my life that I was defying. I was finally awake. I was no longer denying that I'd become lost with the drugs I'd been buying. I now knew the truth that I once couldn't see, that it wasn't so simple to find who you would be, that people struggle, all people struggle, some worse than me, and that this world is much better when you and I become we. Thank you.